sure that we're following open meetings law. So it starts with within the meeting, we will have to conduct a roll call where each member or anyone on the line needs to introduce themselves. And then as we go through each item, if there's any motions required or just general discussion, please remember we have some people simply using phones, so please introduce yourself again before you speak. Not everybody has the capability of video on their computer, so if I was making a general comment or make a motion for the minutes, I would say this is Shelley DeHart making the I'd like to move to approve the minutes, and then somebody would identify themselves and second the motion, and then we have to go through a roll call type of approval. So all those in favor, you would say your name. Of course, we have a first and a second. Then Brooke, you would say Brooke, is an I or something to that effect. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I guess everybody has mute. So we can always use thumbs up if we're looking at each other as well. So the muting during discussions help keeps any feedback down. Just remember to unmute yourself when you want to speak. What we do have to do is if somebody's technology fails, then we have to count that as we could lose a quorum until they get back in and so forth. But I don't foresee that. Everybody's technology seems to be okay. So I think that's all I have to share at this point. So I'll turn it over to the chairman if she would like to start the meeting.
Okay, great. Thanks, Shelley. All right, so welcome to, I guess, our first ever virtual meeting. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order and set the agenda. I can get a motion.
Could we first do the roll call if we could? Before we start motioning, if everybody would enter their name into the record as participating remotely, and if you are a guest, please indicate that you are on the call. However, you are a guest or speaker. So I'm Shelley DeHart. I'm the planning director and liaison for the board.
Okay, and Jennifer Fortenberry, chair for the board.
Rob Wheelheight, vice chairman for the board.
Grace Nearing, student member of the board.
Brooke Cox, student member.
Danielle Clark, member of the board.
Sharon Johnston, member of the board.
Doug Ehlers, member of the board.
Jennifer Herring, Waste Pro, Director of Government Relations.
Okay. Hearing no other names, we can move forward with the agenda.
Okay, great. Yeah, so if I can get a motion to set the agenda for the evening.
So moved.
Doug seconds the motion.
Okay, who did the first and who did the second?
Rob Wheelheight did the motion.
Okay. Motion?
Doug seconds.
Doug seconds, thank you.
Okay, and similarly, can I get motions for adoption of our minutes from February?
Danielle will motion.
Grace will second.
And all those in favor, if you would just enter your name into the record.
Okay,
Rob is in favor.
Jennifer,
Brooke is in favor.
Sharon.
Danielle.
all right.
Doug is
Anyone
in favor.
opposed?
Right?
Okay. So moving into our agenda. So we have our guest speaker, Jennifer Herring, back to give us an update from Waste Pro, and she'd also provided some data that I was excited to see. So hopefully we can walk through that as well.
Okay, give me 1 second to bring up that data. 1 second. It went away, so give me a second here for technology. Okay, let me try it again. Share this. She gave me this wonderful slide, so I will slide down to it in just a moment. Here we go. Can everybody see the graph?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. This is Jennifer Herring again with Waste Pro, and just wanted to, join back in with you guys. I know it's been a little while getting through the virus situation, but wanted to provide just some updates of Waste Pro's performance. Basically, I calculated this information from January until the end of April, and what we looked at was, volume from April through January through April of 2019 versus 2020. So Shelley and I were talking about the increase that the volume has been due to, everyone being at home. So Waste Pro has provided, some additional services as far as picking up more trash at each person's home, and it reflects in the tonnages. So just to reference 2019 solid waste tons, which is your regular municipal trash tons, we did about 1,660 tons. The same time frame of 2020, we've collected, over 1,700. So you see that there is a difference in what we're collecting. We combine the recycle and yard waste numbers just because those numbers, yard waste is recycled just like your recycling material. So again, that there's an increase there as well. Close to just under 100 tons of increased material that's been collected. One thing that Waste Pro has done that our competitors haven't done is we've continued to pick up bulk material and yard waste, during the closure and the stay-at-home order. All of our competitors in the Charlotte market ceased that collection back in March and are just now beginning to pick those materials back up. So Waste Pro has been part of helping, some communities that lost those services. We went out and provided those services to some communities, and we're currently providing some emergency services to the city of Charlotte. They needed some help. They had ceased yard waste collection, and we stepped in to help them get caught back up and get a yard waste back on schedule for them. So just a little update, not a lot, but I thought it was important that y'all see, what we were able to do for the community during this time, and we'll continue to be a partner to the Belmont community.
Jennifer, just a quick question, if I may. This is
And
Rob.
who is Rob? Okay.
These numbers for 2020 are actually kind of surprising, but it would appear to me that a lot of that is driven by the increase in yard waste from solid waste and yard waste and recycling from residential versus what's offset from closed businesses in the commercial space. Is that all blended into these graphs? All those different sectors?
This is just commercial waste. This is just your residential waste. So I don't have any commercial numbers blended in here. This is strictly your residential homes, single families. We provide a little bit to some duplexes and some trailers in the community, but this is all residential waste during this time.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, then I'll adjust this. Jennifer, I didn't know if you wanted to share changes in recycling, what's allowed to be collected.
Absolutely. So as the commodities change and the recycling environment in the U.S. and the world changes, we see a reduced list of items that are acceptable. This will be provided on the calendar that we collect a recycling by that's sent out to the residents and available for pickup. We provide this service to the community every year. We assist Belmont with the calendar. So these are the items that are now acceptable, and then we kind of just gave a little bit of list below that says, you know, the no's, which are the big ones for us: plastic bags, food, yard waste, coat hangers, clothing, and shoes. So the little slogan going forward that kind of, you know, we're all putting out there is, when in doubt, leave it out of the can. But this is the new list of recycling items that just came out yesterday from the local MuRF, which is the material recovery facility that accepts your material coming in from Belmont, which is local to Charlotte.
I think this is great. I guess the first thing that came to mind, Shelley, is there a way that we can get this out through social media, you know, sooner rather than later?
Yes, I believe, looking through the email chain of when I got this was already sent to our public information officers and our public works director, and I will follow up with our public information officer and see how they are pushing this out on social media. I believe this was going to be part of the update for the calendar magnets. Is that correct, Jennifer?
Yes, ma'am. This is the new list that'll be beside the calendar for recycling collection and yard waste collection. So the old list that was there has been removed, and this updated graphic has been added to the new calendar.
So I will follow up with the public works director and responsible parties to see how this is being pushed out. I don't know how soon, if the calendars are actually already made up and ready for distribution and how they get distributed. I'm unclear on that, but I will follow up and get that information to the ESB.
Okay, great. And then circling back to the waste data, I did have one more question. This is
Okay.
Jennifer. So, yeah, I was actually slightly impressed with the diversion rates. I think, having not seen where we were before, you know, it looks like we're at roughly, you know, 22% last year and 24% diversion. Is that similar for what you would expect for other similarly sized, you know, kind of suburban type cities, or, you know, are there, I guess, is there benchmarking available to just kind of see where we stack up?
Yeah, I can get some of that information based on your size and kind of your demographics, but this is actually a really good number, and you guys should be proud of it. Belmont's maintained a very good diversion number with recycle, and I don't see that changing. Just the demographics and who's moving into your community. They're big recyclers. The millennials that are moving in continue to be part of that program that pushes this number for y'all.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, great. Jennifer, was there anything else that you had to update us on?
No, that was all. And the last piece I'll chime in on is just the tour of the MuRF, which is still standing out there. There's no tours at this current time just due to the situation, but as that changes, I don't foresee anything in probably the next 3 months. We can reevaluate in 3 months and see what the tour kind of situation looks like for the MuRF. But I definitely I need to try to get y'all into this facility so you can see, you know, how it's all recycled, see your material coming in. We'll try to schedule it around when one of your trucks is coming in, is how I like to do it. So, you know, don't lose faith in me. We'll get you in front of the MuRF as soon as possible.
Yeah, totally understandable. All right. Well, I appreciate it. So any questions for Jennifer?
Not at this time for me.
Going once, going twice. Okay.
Thank
All right,
you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining.
Absolutely. Thank y'all. I
Okay.
appreciate it. Y'all
Bye.
take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so the next item on our agenda is a discussion around the potential sustainability coordinator role. I know Shelley's provided some updates by email, but I think maybe just to get an update and further detail around the expectations of the role for Jamie's backfill.
Okay, so as far as the permanent Jamie, the new Jamie Mendoza, we have hired someone. In fact, Jamie Mendoza trained our new employee. Her name's Peyton. She has been with our planning department working part-time as she completed school at Chapel Hill. So she did graduate virtually and is set to start on June 1st. So she will be the permanent replacement, and she is very good at marketing and social media and so forth. She worked very closely with Jamie in the office. So we held off on filling that position until she got out of school. So you've been putting up with me for these months, but she is excited to get going, and I think you'll find her a delight and very very good and hard worker.
Okay, so I don't know like what percentage of Jamie's time she was spending on sustainability initiatives, but can we expect kind of similar support from Peyton going forward?
Yes. I mean, there'll be somewhat of a learning curve, and you'll have some of, like I'll still be attending to try to help out as she gets her feet wet with acting as the liaison. But yes, she should have the same amount of time as Jamie Mendoza.
Okay.
Good. Glad to hear that.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's great. I guess any support you need from us in helping get her up to speed, or?
Yeah, let me think about that, and I'll shoot you an email on it. Yeah, we'll have her review the minutes. And did you guys ever complete your work program for the last year that I could share with her? No.
That is not sounding familiar.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll go back through the minutes, and then I'll try to coordinate a virtual meeting with you, Jennifer, between Peyton and you, so you guys can get to know each other and have a conversation.
Okay. All right, that'd be great.
Okay. Great.
Okay. So I think part of what initiated the sustainability coordinator discussion initially, separate from Jamie leaving, was just around getting more staff support to help drive more initiatives. So I think there is still interest, and certainly anyone feel free to speak up, but and kind of circling back to some of our previous discussions around, can we set a strategic plan? Can we lay out specific goals and initiatives and have kind of working groups, to support staff in working towards those goals? So that's certainly something I'll discuss with Peyton and see if we can start getting that back on our agenda once we have her on board. Okay,
that sounds good. And I just want to share with you, so before the pandemic, we had proposed to the city manager expanding an existing position. They currently work part-time, and they're the administrator. They work for the city, but they were the administrator of Keep Belmont Beautiful. And we had talked to the city manager based on discussions out of the ESB board meetings to see if we could expand that position to a full-time and have them act as the liaison and help this board identify your goals and your initiatives and outline tasks to move some of your initiatives forward. And he was supportive of that, and we had proposed it in the draft budget. But once the pandemic hit, As you can imagine, finances over the next year are going to be greatly affected, from sales tax, anticipated sales tax coming in and so forth. Everybody's been hit hard. So the city manager, although supportive of the position, he did not propose that position to the council. In fact, his goal is to keep existing staff employed. So it doesn't, if things start coming back and things looking better, we may be able to propose it in next year's fiscal budget. So it's good if we go ahead and start planning for it. And I believe it was Doug that at a meeting talked about, he had heard about positions like these, and any information as far as job descriptions and stuff you can get your hands on, that would be helpful in helping develop a job description for the city to start planning for next year's budget, and we'll just see how it goes.
Sounds
Great,
fair.
we can do that. Doug, I think you reached out to your contact in Cary. I don't know if we ever heard back. Am I
Yeah, I have to
remembering
check
that?
where that is. Yeah, no, it
Okay.
wasn't Cary. And yeah, kind of the same situation there, just wanting to push things to fruition. And so they got, full time to be able to do that. But yeah, I'm sure that I won't have a problem getting some sort of jobs description that we can at least start with.
Yeah. Great.
I'll get that. And yeah, I mean, has Belmont ever had, this is Doug, has Belmont ever had a full-time environmental staff member?
To my
in
knowledge,
Belmont's history?
no. Yeah, to my knowledge,
yeah.
and this is Shelley again. To my knowledge, no. In fact, the part-time position assisting Keep Belmont Beautiful just came on about a year ago. So it was a newly part-time position. And we could always explore, if we get some kind of job description pulled together, there might be a way to, hire an intern, a real savvy environmental college student that has the time and work part-time or something to help the board with its initiatives until we get this full-time position.
Yeah, this is Rob. I like that idea, Shelley. I think that, their students bring good, fresh ideas that maybe we wouldn't consider necessarily. And of course, I know we have 2 students on the board already, but I think that, to the extent we can bring in outside perspectives from even outside the city that don't actually live here, I think I would welcome that. I think that give us kind of fresh points of view for us to consider.
Yeah, I know a previous board I was on, we always got summer interns from Davidson, and they were phenomenal. So I can reach out to a contact and see if they're still doing that, and just how we would go about, trying to secure an intern.
Yeah, what I'll do, if this is Shelley, what I'll do is go back and look at the budget, talk with the city manager, and see if there's any funding to actually be able to pay the intern. We always have in the past been able to pay the interns. That always is a good incentive, maybe especially with what's going on now. So I'll check with him on that.
Is there any, this is Doug, is there any other, financial support or compensation that Belmont would have to provide for someone being an intern? I'm thinking more the lines of just, just different volunteer positions I held. Sometimes I would have to be covered under their insurance. And so that would be, some financial support there. Do you know if that's required, or would you be able to look into that?
This is Shelley. Yes, I can look into that. I do know that typically when we have interns, we do background checks on them. And my assumption is that they would be covered by our insurance, but I need to double check on that.
Okay. Yeah, I like that idea. If we could get this is Doug. If we could get a summer intern this year, yeah, I think that would be perfect. And I know that there's probably a lot of people looking for jobs. So whether it be paid or unpaid, I think it's wonderful for someone coming out of college or still in college to, help themselves out and help us out. Great idea.
Yeah. Okay, so any more comments or discussion around staffing for all board support? Okay, so the next item, and Shelley, I think this might actually tie back to previous discussion, but we have the permanent liaison for the board.
So, yeah, I thought we sort of touched on that already. We have Peyton coming on board June 1st, and she'll be the permanent liaison. You'll have various planners still attending the meetings to help her get acclimated, and I will coordinate a meeting between Peyton and yourself to meet prior to the first meeting.
Okay. All right, great. Okay, so then the next item, city projects. And
Right.
Yep, again, Shelley, take it away.
Yes, okay. So I wanted to share with you some of the city projects that we're working on that we think your board would be interested in. But first I'm going to jump back up to the garbage services. So currently we're contracted with Waste Pro. I did talk with the city manager and get his timeline today, which I'll share with you. So our contract runs out the end of June 2021, so this next fiscal year. So speaking with the city manager, he sort of outlined a rough schedule, and he does want as we had indicated in a previous meeting, he does want a member of the ESB board to sit on the committee for identifying the appropriate contractor. But his schedule is that he will start developing the scope and pull together the I'll call it the steering committee for the RFP around October. His goal is to have the RFP issued by the end of the year, and then give a month for the proposals to come in, and then February would start the process of identifying and awarding the contract to start July 1 of the next fiscal year of 2021. So that would be something your board, you will want to discuss who you want sitting on the steering committee. And of course, you would be that liaison between the steering committee and the ESB board, sharing the scope and any discussions that that you want to have with the board as a whole as you move through the process. So that is the schedule for that.
Okay.
And then I'll just keep going, and then just you guys have your discussion on any item, unless you want to discuss that particular one right now.
Yeah, why don't we do that, and then we'll jump to the next topic.
Sure.
Yeah, so I think, seems like this is a topic that most of us are interested in, but is there anyone, I guess, who might have any direct experience in, these type of RFP processes?
Well, this is Rob. As a management consultant, I respond to RFPs all the time. It's my business.
Yeah.
So I'm used to the process in general. I'm not sure exactly how the city of Belmont handles it specifically, but would be happy to help work on behalf of the board.
Okay. Yeah, and same. I was going to offer to help as well, but yeah, I guess Shelley, we get one representative? Is that
Well,
the understanding?
if there's two of you that want to do it, I'll go back and ask him tomorrow. Is
Okay.
2 representatives, or do you want it limited to 1? And
Well, we could tag team, Jennifer.
Yeah, I think that might work because I'm
okay.
reluctant to commit personally, knowing I'll be on maternity leave, so I'll have a lot of free time. So I don't know how much actual free time. So,
Okay.
but yeah,
I'm always happy to back you up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Before I fully commit, I might need a backup. So.
Okay. All right. So
Good deal.
I'm sure, yeah, if you guys work as a team, that's great too. So I'll ask Adrian about it. And, do you want me to still ask for 2 positions, or do you guys just want to tag team?
I'm good with tag teaming if they are.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure that's not an issue.
Okay.
Are you okay with that, Rob?
I am indeed.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, great. Okay, great. I'll give that information to Adrian tomorrow. So a couple other projects we're working on. We have been working with the designer on on an update to the bathrooms at Stowe Park. And let me see. And this is being worked into the CIP that the council will consider, and it still has to be ranked as far as a public improvement in one of our parks from the Park and Recreation Advisory Board. But I wanted to show you this diagram because as the planners, we're very excited about this. So this would enlarge and provide more facilities. This would provide more facilities for the we'll demo the old restroom. It has a lot more storage, but what we like about it is it integrates some sustainability items. It's proposed to have rain barrels. So the way the architecture, the roof line is, it's to direct the water to the rain barrels. It also provides the ability to put solar panels on the roof, which again, we thought was a great idea. The design and the roof allows light in the restroom as well. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Are you sharing just Adobe Acrobat? I don't know that the board can see the image that you're trying
can
to
you
show.
see it?
Not yet.
No, it's a picture. Oh, you can't see it?
Yeah, it's just showing a gray screen. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for telling me. I was just going all over the place with that. So let me, let's see, I'll have to convert it. It is not, oh, well, wait, let me try it another way.
Shelley, I think if you just shared from a different platform, I think you're just sharing Adobe for us right now. If you shared.
There we go.
There you go.
There it is.
Oh, I see it.
Perfect.
So let's see. Yeah, it doesn't quite show it all, but there you go. So, so this is the proposed design that's still going through its recommendation and approval process to get incorporated in the city's capital improvement program. And of course, budgeting plays a strong role in the timing of this. But it is proposed to have some rain barrels on the ends, the ability to add solar panels on the roof line, as well as we have discussed with the architect doing some artwork within the facility, and the public information officer, Jamie Campbell, mentioned utilizing some of our past artwork from the children that we've had, the contests that we've had for all the previous Arbor Day celebrations. And depending on the timing of this, there may be the ability for this board to lead another art initiative with our schools to include different type of arts, not just why our trees are important, but other, sustainability, environmental issues in the form of art from the children that can be incorporated in this. So we'll have a better idea as it moves forward to the advisory board and through the budget process on how much time we would have to try to come up with some kind of interesting art initiative for the inside. Of course, we would be hopeful also to try to track down some, maybe there are grants to help put the solar panels on the roof and so forth. So I think there's an opportunity for the Park and Rec Board and our ESV board to work together to make this a very interesting project as it goes through the budgeting process.
Shelley, this is just the restroom facility, so kind of replacing what's already there.
That's correct. Yes, okay. It's a larger. They're going to demo the existing. This is has more facilities, and there's actually going to be another little storage building on the side of it, but it's oriented very nicely to the park. I don't have the site plan readily available, but we'll bring it back for as it goes through the process and talk about ideas for this and possibly grants that we could track down even for the rain barrels or any other initiative.
Hey, Shelley, this is Rob. I wonder with regards to the solar panels, whether or not there's a Duke Energy type of incentive or rebate. Jennifer, you probably know more about that than I would at this point, but that could be a possibility.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, for a system this small, I don't know that they would have incentives. Yeah, if anything, I think it's just going to be the typical kind of federal state, and being tax exempt, I don't think those are going to apply either. So,
yeah. I mean, the load's going to be quite small, of course.
That's what I was thinking. I'm trying to decide if that makes sense or if it's more just a showpiece, and maybe it can power like lights for the park as opposed to just this building. So
exactly.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting.
Yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, I think as it progresses, definitely like to get a chance to review the designs. So
okay.
Yeah, so thanks for bringing this up and you know, keeping us in the loop.
Sure. All right, let's try to get on a different page.
This is Doug.
Okay.
When is this set to be, I guess, fleshed out, if it's going to go through or not?
Well, where it's at is this was just a conceptual design for the restroom replacement. We are currently the architect's working to get bids on what something like this would cost so we can incorporate it in the capital improvement plan for the city. And that goes through a ranking process with the Park and Rec Advisory Board. They rank all improvements in parks. Then that goes to City Council. Then the City Council identifies, will approve it. Now, sometimes it's a 5 to 10 year CIP. So it could, if it ranks high and everybody thinks it's a priority, they may say, okay, let's go to construction drawings next year, the year after, and then it progresses that way. They'll spread it out. So we don't really know when it will happen. It just gets worked into the system, ranked, and then comes online based on the CIP year.
I gotcha. Yeah, I guess my thought was, and jumping off Jennifer, was, you know, because we're in the energy industry or the conservation industry, and, you know, to review the plans and make it maybe by adding a few things or taking away some things, we may be able to make it more attractive for, you know, for it to have higher CIP.
Okay. Well, so you would do that at this point in the conceptual design, or once it gets closer to an actual construction set?
I mean, if there's something available now, it would be nice for us to start looking at, to start seeing how the design is put out, and you know,
Sure.
just thinking about some ideas. Yeah.
Okay, I'll email this out to the team along with the site plan as well.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, so I talked about garbage contract. Okay, so we have a new planner working for the planning and zoning department. It's Tiffany Farrow. She's our new transportation planner. She's our associate planner. She focuses on multimodal transportation. So I've invited her to this meeting to share some of the projects that are going on in the city as well. So let me bring up her presentation. Can everyone see this?
No, I just see like gray. Kind of.
Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. I think I figured out what I do. 1 second, and now let me share the right screen.
It started to come.
Did it? Did it? Okay, let me try something else. Let me save this as a PDF.
Do you need me to share it, Shelley?
Yeah, if you have it as a PDF, that'd be great.
Oh, let's see. I have it as a PowerPoint.
I was trying to.
But can
Yeah,
you
that's
guys see that?
That's why.
I started to. There it is.
Let me.
Yeah, it's up now.
Okay. Oh, is it still there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still there.
Okay, let's see if I can make it. There we go. Is that better for you guys?
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect.
Perfect. Yep.
All right. So again, my name's Tiffany Farrow. I'm the new associate planner. And so I just wanted to quickly go over and try to provide some updates for you guys with a general overview of some things that you might be interested in. So City Council did approve in April the concept plan for Rocky Branch Park for the master plan that would include trails along the entirety of the park and also include some enhanced bike facilities as well. So to the left, you'll see the approved concept plan, and to the right, what I'm showing there is different examples of the paths that are being proposed on that master map. And so you'll see there's a variety of different use types. What's highlighted as the green zone or multi-use access trail has also been successfully adopted as an amendment to the Carolina Thread Trail. So that would connect into a larger corridor that would connect to Cramerton and to the Riverlink Greenway and all of the areas down there. The only piece that's remaining, from my understanding, is just the paperwork side from Gaston County, but we anticipate their full support of that complete amendment package. And so with that one, that I believe the Park and Recs team will be the project lead on that. We'll just get updates and partner with them as needed to plan that build out and fund that build out, but in a huge partnership with the Tar Heel Trailblazers that have really spearheaded that initiative. So do you guys have any questions on that one?
This is Doug. This is the park at the end of Woodrow, right?
So in full disclosure, it's right at Sacco. It's in the Reed Park. It's
okay. It's right next to Reed Park. Yeah, actually,
yes.
actually, I jogged this around here the other day. I thought it was looking. I thought it looked good. So this is very exciting. Thank you for presenting this.
Absolutely. And there is a full master plan package that I believe is included in the April board meeting agenda, if you guys are curious to read that entire presentation.
Hi, this is Rob. Just a quick question. When it says multi-use trail, are there restrictions in terms of types of vehicles or no motorized bikes of any sort, that kind of thing?
That is my understanding, although I'll defer to Zip. I might have to follow up and just confirm that for you. But it's my understanding that on the multi-use access trail, it would be for pedestrians and bikes, but no motorized vehicles, as would most
Okay.
of the trails in this park.
Okay.
And I believe that they said that multi-use access trail, since it is more natural, is going to range just based on topography from anywhere between 4 and 8 feet wide. In order to be able to avoid some of the trees and not have to damage the root beds or anything like that, they're going to work it around the natural elements of the park.
Hey, this is Grace. So I know you said this was approved, so are we still waiting on funding, similar to the bathrooms, or is this gonna start soon? I'm not sure like where it is.
Sure. So it's my understanding that the concept plan is approved. So the next step would be securing the funding. And I believe the Trailblazers are working on a few grant applications and have asked the city for a little bit of financial backing, and they get their support just for matching grant funds. But each step in the process to get us to a full build out would require additional financial commitments. And so we're not really sure of the exact time frame to get us from what you see here on paper to its completion. It's all going to be funding related, but I do know that everybody on board is working as hard as they can to secure that funding.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Perfect. So the next one we wanted to give you guys an update on as well is also proposed to be a portion of the Carolina Thread Trail, and this is on the other side. So this is the Abbey Creek Greenway project. And as you guys probably know, the MuRF at Belmont was approved in May of 2019, which included a pretty large segment of this trail corridor. I believe it was about 3/4 of a mile as part of the MuRF project approval that they will be funding and building out for construction to start. And it's anticipated for summer of 2022. And so that is the portion from Brewer Street pretty much down to, was that 6th Street? And then from 6th Street to Kevin Lofton Park, the city is exploring how we could best plan for the build out of the remaining portion of that corridor so that we can kind of bring that project into realization. This project was outlined as part of our 2009 pedestrian plan. And so we want to make sure that we are doing what we can to see that project through and get plans on the ground. So I believe ESP is the design engineer for the MuRF project. And so we've been working with them on the specifications of what they're going to do as part of that. And then once we can finalize those details, it'll be easier for us as the city to figure out how to best plan our portion of that greenway.
It's wonderful.
All right. Perfect. And so that leads us into our next initiative we thought you might be interested in, which is a possible update of our pedestrian plan. So our current pedestrian plan for the city was done in December of 2009. And since that time, our population has grown about 22.2%. And so as Belmont grows, we want to make sure that our plans are growing and expanding with it. And also to make sure that we are taking advantage of some of the benefits of pedestrian infrastructure for both health, the environment, the community, and our economy as a whole. And so we have applied for an NCDOT pedestrian planning grant to help fund this initiative. And if we're awarded that, NCDOT would cover 80% of the costs for creating that plan for us. And so that's really exciting just so that it minimizes costs for Belmont specifically, and we can get a comprehensive product out of that. That grant is what helped us to create our initial pedestrian transportation plan. And so we'll be working hard on that grant application to hopefully be successful with that being awarded for us.
So would this pedestrian plan address like safety concerns around just like crosswalks and things like that around the city?
Yes, it would address everything from future greenways to safety concerns with our current infrastructure, heads, all sorts of different things. So it'll address how can we improve what we have and also build upon what we have to get us where we need to be.
Okay. Oh, that's great. What's the timing for hearing back from the DOT?
That is a good question. I believe so. My grant is due. I did this earlier today. My grant is due at the end of June. I believe we hear back in September or October. And then we could expect a notice to proceed from them. It takes them a little bit. They're going to tell you we got the grant, and then they're going to figure out funding. They're going to tell us we can proceed. It would probably be between February and April of 2021. And then we'd have a year from when they tell us to start to finish the project. So I would anticipate a final product around February to April of 2022 if we're awarded.
Okay.
Hi, this is Rob. Would it make sense for this board to have some representation during the development of that new plan, or is it something we could help provide some advisory support on?
I
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, there's a steering committee, so if you guys have that interest, we'd love to have you.
Okay. I mean, we have plenty of time to decide who that is, but it would make sense, I would think, given some of the focus areas here I see, environment in particular.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay.
All right, perfect. Shelley, back to you.
Okay, well, let me pop back up the agenda here if I can. And there we go. Okay, so I guess that covers all the city projects. Well, one other I'll mention, because we have two members of this board on act as on the steering committee for the tree ordinance. So right now we have a survey out there. We do have an initial draft that's been delivered to city staff. We are going through it right now, just identifying anything that we see as maybe any violations of other sections and so forth. And we actually have a conference call with the consultant tomorrow. Then we're going to release it to the steering committee so they can take a look at the initial draft. And so that's where we are right now. We're going to have to get pretty innovative or on how we're going to roll it out. As far as once we get a final draft, we want to take it out to the public. There's a public participation. We usually have a workshop where we share it with the public as a whole, get their comments, and then incorporate it in the final draft. So we are working through the details with our consultant, and that changes daily on how many people can meet. Are we just going to have a virtual workshop and solicit comments? We're still working on that. So that's where that project is. So
who is on the steering committee from our board again?
You have Rob and Sharon, right?
Yes, this is Rob. That's correct. And
yes.
And Shelley, I had a question. It sounds like it's still on the same original schedule that was outlined at the start of this project, right? Or has it slipped a little bit?
Yes, it has slipped. So I've been talking with the state on the grant process and how we've been delayed as far as some of our public outreach. We're having to put that off. So I am filing a time extension with the goal of getting it ready to go by September. It's supposed to be done by the end of June. We're going to ask for a time extension, so hopefully things will change that will loosen requirements up for public gatherings. But we are requesting a time extension. And what they shared was they're getting that from these type of requests from all of the jurisdictions, and we're all in the same boat.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
When is the board on that going to meet again, Shelley? This is Sharon.
We don't have an exact time. What we're going to do is as soon as we talk to our consultants, we're going to get the draft in the hands of the steering committee. I would anticipate we would have a meeting on gather everybody's comments and discuss it probably 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks from now, to give everybody plenty of time to review it.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. So that's all I have.
Okay, so then any questions for Shelley on any of those projects? Haven't covered?
None here.
This is Sharon. Just will the documents that were shared going to be emailed out? Because I wasn't able to get on the visual. I'm just on the phone.
Yes, the documents will be emailed out, correct. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Great. Well, thank you for sharing that. So our last item is just around the reappointment of board members, because we have several members whose terms are running out or may have already run out. Shelley, I did have one question on this. I may have to dig up some of our old meeting minutes, because I think the note at the bottom of that was around we had voted to change the timeline for that.
Yeah,
so
I was trying to figure that out, and
I know there was a reason we did it, and I want to say Jamie said it was to align with a lot of the other boards in their term.
Okay, so it says term periods were amended in April of 2019 to run from May to June.
This is Danielle. I think it was to correlate with the high school students graduating.
Oh.
So graduate in June, and then I guess their appointment would end at that point.
So was that specific to just the high school students, or was it for all board members?
I think it was still for everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone? Okay, so it runs from May to June, so it starts May.
Does that make sense, or should it be June through May?
Yeah, I think it should be June through May. That's why I'm sitting there just going, wait, that makes no sense. How would that work? So, so through the end of May. Okay, so I'll go back and modify these, but we would have on the end of May, Jennifer, Rebecca, and of course the students. Yeah, they would be the positions, and if you're interested in reappointment, you just need to email me that you're interested so I can forward that to the city clerk. I do know that we have some applications that did come in where we have some interested parties for this board, but what would happen is even for reappointment, you would be called in for an interview.
Okay.
So if you're interested in continuing, then please email me and I'll get that information over to the city clerk. And I'll adjust these and send, we still have Jamie, I'll put Peyton's contact information on the bottom of this and get this out.
Okay.
Shelley, this is Rob. When individuals are called in for an interview, I assume that's probably a remote virtual connection.
Yes.
Okay,
Well, we
because City
haven't
Hall's
been
closed, right?
You are correct. So the
Okay.
last time we had rounds for interviews, we were open and they didn't complete all the interviews. So everything's been put on hold. So my assumption is if they are not going to wait till we open back up, they will be held virtually. I don't have the council's schedule, but we do have in state law, and I'll share this, that even if your term expires, you can still continue in that seat until a replacement has been identified or you are reappointed. So even if the interviews don't happen till July or so forth, you're hopefully will still participate as a member until such time we get caught up.
So Shelley, this is Rob again. Is that an interview process inclusive of any existing board members? Do we have any kind of input into that process, or is it city council only?
It's city council. They interview
Okay.
everyone. Now, I'm trying to think. The only time we really hear from a board is if there happens to be a struggle with attendance from a board member and they would like council to take action to either reappoint a new person or so forth, replace that person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Shelley, this is Grace. I was just wondering, I know when I first got it, I'm not sure, are student members eligible for reappointment? Because this year I'm a junior, so I would still be able to serve on the board next year because I'll still be here. But I'm not sure how that all works.
My understanding, and I'll double check with the bylaws to see if there's something specific to students, but as you notice, it has a T1 next to your name. So you're allowed 2 consecutive terms as a regular member, and I'm assuming that would apply as well to a student member.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So remember to email me if you're interested, and I will update this and send out a copy of the bylaws just so everybody has them, and we'll get that clarified. If there's any term maximums for students.
Okay. Sounds good. We'll see. So if no questions on that, I think that was the last time on our agenda. So any last items of discussion anyone wants to bring up?
Jennifer, this is Rob. I don't think this changes, but our regular cadence of meetings, our monthly meetings, will still stay the same given this new virtual format. I don't see any reason for us to necessarily change the dates. I guess it's the second Wednesday of every month.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I guess we'll stick with the current schedule.
Yeah, I think unless anyone objects to that, I would agree.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks everyone. Good to virtually see you all, and sometime in the next several weeks, months potentially, hopefully we can all get together again. So
Maybe we could meet in Stowe Park, appropriately distanced from each other. I don't know.
Sounds good.
It is summer.
All right.
yeah. All right.
All right.
Sounds
Have a good evening, everybody.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you
Have
all.
a good one.
Thank
Thanks
you.
very much.
Bye.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye.